Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Couch Brotato Podcast. Joining me on today's show is producer Adam. Adam, why don't you tell the fine folks what movie we are talking about this week?
We are talking about Something About Mary.
That's right, gang. We are revisiting the 1998 comedy classic, There's Something About Mary. We're going to talk to you about some of our favorite scenes, our favorite lines, who has the most impactful supporting performance, and some Hall of Fame categories for this movie. Should be a good one. So after the trailer, the Couch Brotato Podcast presents to you, There's Something About Mary.
Some call it crude.
You hired me to find your girl, and I did. And then the truth is, I started to like her.
Bizarre. And obnoxious behavior.
Are you making all that big noise?
But they call it love. From the directors of Dumb and Dumber and Kingpin, Cameron Diaz, Matt Dillon, Ben Stiller, There's Something About Mary. Rated R. July 15th, only in theaters.
Adam, what's going on, my friend?
Not much. Friday night, ready to talk about some movies.
Yeah, had a blast doing last week's episode, the Pirates of the Caribbean. If you haven't listened to it, be sure to check us out on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. And that is the cheap plug of the week. Got it in right off the bat. Pretty awesome.
Yeah, we're efficient now.
Right. I mean, we don't do a lot of things very good on here, but at least we're efficient.
Perfect.
I was thinking about, doing this. We had a blast. I figured we would do another one. And we discussed we haven't done a comedy in a while. So I gave you a list of movies. There were some really good ones. I won't divulge what the list was because maybe we'll revisit that later down the road. But
we'll keep that to ourselves.
Right. Keep it close to the vest. But the movie that we are doing today, you said that you consider that to be a classic. So it kind of got me thinking a little bit, and it kind of sat with me. So I'm thinking like, well, I guess it kind of is. So we decided to do it. And today we're talking about the 1998 classic now comedy, There's Something About Mary, done by the Farrelly brothers. Just revisited this movie for the first time in quite a while on Wednesday. I hadn't seen it. I've seen it a couple times on home video, but I remember seeing it the first time in theaters, which seeing that in a packed movie theater is like an experience unlike any other. Seeing a good comedy with a packed house is just the fucking best. When was the first time you got to see this movie?
So the first time I got to see this movie, I think I was talking to you about it before we started recording, because I had to watch it again before we did it. Was home video. We rented it from Hollywood Video, and
so you didn't go to Blockbuster.
Didn't go to Blockbuster. Went to Hollywood Video. We did the thing where, Hollywood Video was having this promotion, like they'd give you extra money off of your rentals if you cut up your Blockbuster card in front of them. So,
well, you know that you missed out on the promo of the stuffed Puffy the dog in his cast by going to Hollywood Video instead of Blockbuster.
See, that's a bummer.
Yeah, I missed out on that. I didn't have any friends that worked at Blockbuster at the time, and I didn't make it out to the local Blockbuster very often, so I missed out on that promo, which, man,
we both know somebody that might have one. So.
Oh, I'm sure a friend of the show, Mark, has one for sure. He's probably got like 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, he hoards all that stuff. I've seen it. I've witnessed. So
you've been in his movie dungeon?
Yeah, I have. He showed me his movie dungeon where he holds all of the movie memorabilia captive.
I have not been in said movie dungeon, but to hear the stories, it seems like he has every type of physical media known to man. I know he has Laserdisc. I think he's got Betamax too.
I'm sure. I think I remember him saying he does. I don't remember from being there, but I remember seeing the Laserdisc collection, and he definitely has VHS and DVD everywhere. So yeah,
well,
definitely has every form of media.
Maybe one of these days when we put this thing on YouTube, maybe we'll just make that a whole episode onto itself. Mark's Movie Dungeon.
Yeah. We can give the tour. We'll have I'll be the cameraman, and Mark can show the internet his glorious collection.
Well, I have a very bad allergic reaction to cats, so I might have to wear like one of the Walter White breathing apparatuses when he's cooking meth while we're doing this. So people are gonna watch it. If anybody watches, I don't know. No one listens to this show, let alone watches on YouTube, but they're gonna look at this like, what the fuck is this?
It could be more. If you rent one more than 4 times a year, it's just better to buy one of those suits. So
right, yeah, I might just do that. What the hell? But getting back to the movie, watched it. I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but I think a lot of this doesn't age very well, and I don't think that they can make this movie today. I mean, I don't know. What do you think?
No, I don't think they could. It definitely doesn't age well. It's definitely around the comedy that centers around like mentally handicapped kids.
Oh, dude,
you know that
Matt Dillon has that whole run where he is just like going completely off the fucking rails about that.
I think that was part of the joke too, because it's supposed to be offensive, and you know it offends Mary too, and it's just, yeah. I get the comedy, but yeah, it doesn't age well. You can definitely tell like it would not be in theaters.
Yeah,
this day and age for sure.
What would you find would most people be offended by? Would it be the stalker-ishness of the main character, Ted? Well, actually, both of them kind of are, Ted and Pat.
I don't think that's as bad of a issue. I know, just because they do all explain it at the end. It's just like, because they're not there to hurt her. They think they love her, and then like, you know, Ben Stiller's like, yeah, they're all just fixated on you. They don't actually love you, and you know, so they kind of explain that away, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. It doesn't justify it, and it makes it less creepy, maybe.
Well, let me ask you this. What would you think that modern audiences would be offended by more? I would say the scenes that would raise a lot of eyebrows in today's movie-going world would be either Ted getting his balls and dick getting caught in the zipper, and you get basically like a full view of that, or the Mary using Ted's spunk as hair gel.
Oh man.
I mean, I think we've already established that probably the treatment of the mentally disabled by Pat Healy is probably the thing that would raise the most eyebrows. But the two main gags.
Yeah, the two main gags. I don't know. I don't think they're not particularly offensive in any sort of way.
Well, not to us.
Right. I'm just thinking in terms of large groups of people, like, you know, if we do a broad spectrum of mentally handicapped people, I don't think there's any like people that would get offended by Ben Stiller zipping his dick up.
Yeah.
Maybe they would get offended at seeing it, but there's lots of nudity in movies, even now. So, I mean, in a way, having a male nudity in a movie is more equal than not, because we get to see a lot more female nudity in movies. It just seems
Well, it
the
seems like
scales are
I've noticed
balanced
it's
that
the
way.
other way around lately. It seems like everything that I see more of anymore is you see dudes
Hmm.
like dudes junk. I know like Walton Goggins and like in the Righteous Gemstones, you get full view of his package, and like I seem to notice it more gravitating towards the male side now. Could be wrong.
Yeah. I think that I think in between those two things, um, with the zip and uh the spunk in the hair, I'm gonna have to say go with the spunk, just because um it's just weird to watch. Like, yeah, it's one of those. I think it's one of the first movies, other than maybe like Fast Times at Ridgemont High, but we don't get like the full after effect of that whole thing. It's just, but like, it's just weird to watch on film. I don't know. I don't know what it is. And then having it on his ear, and then her rubbing it in her hair. I guess that could be, since he didn't like disclose that to her, that could possibly be sexual assault too. So, uh,
Yeah, I guess it could
you
be.
know,
Yeah, see that's the thing. It's like, there would always be some kind of way to kind of twist it around to make it more offensive than it really is.
right. So I'd probably go with that particular gag as more offensive.
Yeah.
Um, but you know,
When I was doing some research on this movie, I did see that there weren't a lot of like the R-rated comedies that had been out for a while. Like it seemed like back in like the early '80s, the raunchy
mhm,
R-rated comedy was a thing. I mean, you had like Porky's, you had Bachelor Party, Stripes, like all those kind of Animal House,
mhm,
huge hits, and then it seemed like it just went away for a long time. And then
yeah,
I think for me, I noticed that once this became a hit, it seemed to kind of kickstart the R-rated comedy again.
yeah,
Because like
I could see that.
I noticed that like a few years after this come out, you started getting the Apatow stuff. I mean, maybe a little bit later than that, but it seemed like the Apatow stuff came, a few years later. It seemed
Mhm.
like we started getting more and more types of comedies like this.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that you know makes the argument for this being a classic race too. Is it
Its
did
influence.
kickstart a new, yeah, it did kickstart a new wave of R-rated comedies, and comedy too is really hit or miss in theaters too. And we've talked about it before on the podcast. It's just comedy doesn't make money as well as much other genres of movies. So you do get short bursts of comedy throughout, cinematic history. You don't get giant, like Disney had its renaissance in the 90s. You don't get big long renaissance like that with comedy. You just get
Well,
short
certain
bursts, I
styles of
think. And
comedy.
yeah, so I think it started a little short spurt there, and we got that era, that generation of R-rated comedy because of There's Something About Mary, for sure.
Yeah, it seemed like this is the bridge movie between the '80s and the 2000s.
Yeah, I'd agree with that statement
And I
for sure.
think I think that between that and then just, I mean, I know there's a lot of like gross out humor and they kind of push things as far as they can go, but when
Mhm.
I watch this again, it works because like the three main characters are so well written.
Yeah,
I mean, there's
yeah,
not, Pat Healy is kind of a slime ball piece of shit human being. Ted is kind of, like the sweet kind of loser in life.
mhm,
And then like Mary is kind of like the center of it all. And she's like, and I really liked how after a while, like Ted and Pat kind of like, they're very polar opposite ends of like people. You got the good guy and you got the
yeah,
bad guy here. And then like as they get, they both have been, they've had their thing with Mary and like they've reconnected or they've met her, they start to kind of become like the lines are blurred. They start to become more the same.
Yeah.
I thought that was
They all have their. She's the reason. So she like they all have that in common and start acting this similarly. I guess. Yeah.
But it's still even with the stuff that doesn't age well, still really good movie. I still really enjoyed this.
Oh, for sure. And the gross out gags, even though they're lowbrow, they're lowest common denominator. Sometimes they're still memorable. Like the spunk in the hair. Like they've done so many parodies of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's even though it pandered to the lowest common denominator comedy wise, it's still memorable, and I still laugh.
Oh, for sure. All right. Well, hey, you ready to knock out some categories?
For sure.
All right. Well, The Tale of the Tape. This movie was released on July the 15th, 1998. Just celebrated its 25-year anniversary. Stars Cameron Diaz, Ben Stiller, Matt Dillon, Lee Evans, Chris Elliott, and Lynn Shay. Directed by Peter and Bobby Fairley. Academy Award-winning directors. Won a Oscar for Green Book, which I won't get into, but did not deserve that Academy Award. Rotten Tomatoes score 84% from critics, and I was kind of shocked. 61% from audiences. I thought this would be much higher. But yeah, I got to thinking too that I think probably your age demo is probably the last age group that would probably appreciate this movie. I think anybody younger than you would probably be the ones that would be turned off by the humor of it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. I guess I can't understand the humor of the newer generations or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting too old, but some of the newer comedies that I don't find funny or kind of the same way. So I get it. It's probably just a generational thing. Yeah, for sure. Because they could go on Rotten Tomatoes and post their own score and kind of lower the score over time for sure.
Yeah, and that seems to be like the group that seems to like frequent and write reviews more for movies seems to be that are like the uber movie nerds, like guys that make us like seem like Stallone and Schwarzenegger in comparison. This movie did $369 million worldwide on a $23 million budget, which is fucking crazy.
That is super crazy. I think I remember reading comedies and horror have the best returns for movie making because their budgets can be so low.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, for sure. That's the thing. Like I think studios would like to see comedy kind of come back to theaters because it has such a great return on investment. But I think a lot of it is due to the fact that our society in general just seems to be so offended by everything anymore. So it's kind of tough to do a comedy. And I think a lot of the comedy stuff now is gravitated towards television.
Yeah, it's risky enough to take a risk on, an unknown story. And we've covered that before too, where we talk about franchises. Listen today. We have a podcast about that. But I think it's also fairly risky to try and gather a good demographic for a comedy nowadays because you have baby boomers, you have millennials, you have Gen Zers, and you have Gen Alphas, and they all have a different idea of what's funny. And trying to focus in on what everyone thinks is funny without offending anyone is just going to be too hard. So not only do you have the risk of, this movie might not make enough money for me because it's not part of a franchise, this movie also might offend everybody that we want to see our movies, so we're not going to do it.
Well, when you said that, it makes me wonder too. Like, I know the big thing with like the writers' strike and then the actors' strike is the use of AI. It almost makes when you said that
Mhm.
you got so many demographics and you have to worry, you have to tread the line on like who you're going to offend somebody. Like, I could
Mhm.
just see like some studio now, like, all right, just put it in the old chat GBT, come up with like, like the least offensive funny movie you could come up with, and they'll write something.
It'll be the worst movie ever made.
Yeah, it's like the, I don't know, like Doctor Doolittle, like amped up to 11 or something.
Yeah, yeah.
This movie did not win any awards. However, I did see that in, I think it was AFI's 100 funniest movies of all time. This movie was like number 20.
Huh?
So
Okay.
that's pretty high praise, and they seem to be on the same wavelength as you, considering it's a classic. And if you decide that you want to watch There's Something About Mary, you can stream it on the cock.
Streaming on the cock.
Yep. I own it, so I just accessed my Voodoo login. But yeah, I noticed it was on Peacock. So kudos to Peacock, which is weird considering it's Fox movie. I thought it'd be on Hulu, but hey, whatever. I'm not trying to get into those rights. The scouting report, which we are calling like fun facts, little tidbits about the movie behind the scenes you may or may not have realized. I found a ton of really cool information about this movie. I thought when we decided to do this, I thought for sure it was like going to be one of those movies that like, oh fuck, there's not going to be anything to talk about with this, but oh no, found quite a bit of juicy details on this. And I've only got a few here. Courtney Cox of Friends fame was offered the role of Mary by the Farrelly brothers, and she accepted it, but her shooting schedule of Friends kind of made things a little tricky, so her agent turned it down for her without her knowing. Now let me ask you this.
I mean,
Courtney Cox or Cameron Diaz, who would you think is a better fit?
oh man. Okay, so I've voiced my opinion about Cameron Diaz before. I don't like Cameron Diaz. I mean, she's okay as an actress. Her best thing in any movie is she's got the movie scream down, like the classic Hollywood movie scream. Other than that, I could take her or leave her. I mean, she's okay up until about the Shrek era, and then just kind of peters off and becomes annoying. Courtney Cox, she's not super funny to me, but it would be interesting to see her in the role. So I'm only leaning slightly towards Courtney Cox. I don't want to give her, it's like if I were giving her an award, like maybe an Oscar, I would break off the head and give it to her. I don't want to give her full credit, but I would lean more towards Courtney Cox.
Now, see, I don't think that Courtney Cox could pull it off because I think this could be the fact I've seen her in the Scream. Like, I am not a fan of Friends. I've never understood the appeal of that show. For those that watch Friends, awesome. I applaud you for your fandom. It just show never spoke to me. I know Courtney Cox best from the Scream movies, and her character Gail Weathers is kind of a bitch. Well, no, not kind of. She is. She is really.
She is.
She's really a fucking hateful human being. Cameron Diaz, Mary is like kind of like the all-American sweetheart in this movie. Like,
yeah, she's likable. Yeah.
Like she's like every guy's like fantasy. Like she is, attractive. She's super sweet. She likes sports.
Yeah.
And I just don't see Courtney Cox pulling it off. Like I could see her being like super pissy about going to a football game.
Maybe it's because I don't find I don't find either of them super attractive, but and it's Cameron Diaz just doesn't speak to me as girlfriend material. I mean, she likes sports and she likes, she wants meat on a stick, and she talks about, pretty chill things that a guy would want to talk about. But yeah, I don't see the appeal other than that. She plays the role really well. But yeah, maybe Courtney Cox wouldn't do a good job, and maybe it's just me projecting my hatred of not hatred, annoyance of Cameron Diaz.
An unbridled bloodlust hatred of Cameron Diaz. Now, I could see Jennifer Aniston doing it more than Courtney Cox.
Oh yeah, for sure. Jennifer Aniston, hands down, would win between the three of them.
Yeah,
she's an excellent actress, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm on the fence now. You kind of convinced me the other way, so I'm like right in the middle.
Yeah, I honestly I think Cameron Diaz ultimately, well, not just in my opinion, like movie audiences too, like they dug the choice. I think that they probably made the right choice. Pretty damn good. And that's why you and I are not casting directors in Hollywood, at least not yet.
Not yet. Although from just my basic opinion, which is always right, I think that you and I have picked some great fake casts before. So,
well, yeah, we should. So Warner Brothers. Which Warner Brothers definitely needs help, because I just read a story that The Flash was a huge bomb, so we could have cast that movie better.
For sure.
Universal, give us a call, man. Just, listen to the end of the show. We'll give you our email address. That way you can contact us if you need us to help cast a movie when they go back to work. Right now they're not in work, so
yeah. We stand with the writers and the actors.
We do solidly. I can't speak tonight. Yeah. Solidly behind the actors and the writers. 20th Century Fox was reluctant to allow Ben Stiller to star in the film. He was the first choice of the Farrelly brothers, so the brothers decided to cast at the time an unknown Owen Wilson in the role. And then I guess the studio's like, well, wait a minute. That's definitely not who we want to star in this, so you're okay to hire Ben Stiller, and then that's how Ben Stiller got the lead.
Okay.
Now, I definitely cannot see Owen Wilson doing this.
No.
Ben Stiller's able to capture the lovable loser shtick pretty well.
Awkward.
Yeah, Owen Wilson, I can't see him doing. Yeah, awkward is perfect. I can't see Owen Wilson doing awkward or being a loser.
No. Oh yeah, Ben Stiller was the right choice for sure.
I found this to be kind of interesting too. Pat Healy, they considered Bill Murray, which I think they would have went with, but they thought he was a little too old for the role. And they also considered Vince Vaughn, who I could see doing it.
Yeah.
And then Cuba Gooding Jr., which, talk about shit that hasn't aged well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could see Vince Vaughn pulling it off. But yeah, Murray would have been good if he was a little younger.
Yeah, he would have been all right. But yeah, you're right. He's way too old. I think that what was this, 98 when it came out?
Yeah.
He was in his 40s, maybe early 50s.
I think he would have been in his early
40s.
Yeah, I think he would have been in his early 50s, because he's actually worked with the Farrelly brothers before. He did Kingpin, which was the movie they did right before this one, which fucking love Kingpin. We got to do that movie sometime. You kind of beat me to the punch. I was thinking about starting a category called Hot Off the Stove or Hot Takes about this movie, and I would say that Kingpin is the best of the Farrelly brothers comedies.
I don't think the box office would agree with you.
No, they did not. They did Dumb and Dumber, they did Kingpin, and they did There's Something About Mary. Those were the first three movies that they did, and yeah, Kingpin's the one I always go back to.
Kingpin's good though. Yeah.
That's a movie that hasn't aged well either. But we'll get into that another time. This next bit of news I thought was like really, really fascinating. For the role of Warren, Mary's mentally challenged, mentally handicapped brother, Chris Farley was considered for this.
I could see that.
His rapidly declining health, because at the time Farley was like really addicted to like drugs, and you could see the effects they were taking on him whenever he was in public during this time. He was in really rough shape. He had to turn it down, so that's when they cast W. Earl Brown, who is awesome in this. And Farley actually died in '97 while they were filming this, so he wouldn't have been able to do it anyways. But yeah, I thought that was kind of fascinating.
Yeah.
I don't know if... I think Farley could have pulled it off, because there's been Saturday Night Live skits where he's kind of... I hearken back to the skit where he was Rudy Giuliani's son. When Giuliani was elected mayor of New York City. And I could, for that skit right there, I could see him pulling it off. But Farley too kind of has that same thing that Robin Williams has. Like, I love Robin Williams, but there's certain movies that he just would not be a good fit for because of his comedic style. And I think Farley may have been the same for this. Because Farley's very maniacal too, and can kind of get a little over the top. So I don't know. Maybe he could have pulled it off. But
yeah, he might have brought more. I don't know. I feel like he might have done it over the top. Maybe.
Well, the only other problem with Farley too, he was a pretty big star at this point, and Warren being a minor character in this movie, I think kind of would have overshadowed the three leads.
Yeah.
And there's sometimes where like a big star in a minor role is not a good thing. So I don't know. It might have worked. It may not have. The original ending, which I'm not going to spoil anything for you guys and gals, because this movie is 25 years old. If you haven't seen it by now, I don't know what to tell you. The original ending of this movie had Ted getting hit by a bus after Mary chose him over the other suitors. But I guess test screenings decided that was too dark of an ending, so they went with the movie ending that you see in the theaters and on home video and everything, where they reunite and they get the happily ever after ending, and then the sailor guy shoots the balladeer or whatever. I don't know. Did they ever say what his name was?
No, I was looking for that in the credits. I like balladeer better. I was calling them minstrels. But, yeah, balladeer.
The last one that I have is the zipper scene where Ted gets his Franken beans caught in the zipper taking Mary to prom, was based off of a real-life scenario involving the Fairley brothers' sister. She had a group of friends over to listen to records when she was in the 8th grade, and I guess one of the kids had went to the bathroom, and he was in the bathroom for a really long time, to the point where their dad, who was, I guess, a doctor, had to go up and check on him. And I guess years later, his parents told him this story about what happened to this kid. It's based on a real life event.
Okay. I never knew that.
Let me ask you this, Adam. Being a gentleman, have you ever got it caught in a zipper?
No, I can't say that I have. At least if I have repressed the memory because it was so traumatic.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to not have that happen to me either, although now I think that I said it, I'm probably going to cast that evil into the universe, and it's probably going to happen at some point.
It's going to happen tonight. You're going to get up in the middle of the night, go to the bathroom, although you probably don't wear like anything with a zipper to the in the middle of the night, but it's going to happen.
I wear
That's the way
dress
the
slacks
universe
to bed. I make sure that they're pressed. They have a nice crease in the middle. Yeah, I am dressed to the
man.
nines. I dress
You
like
are
a
a
hobo in
gentleman.
public. I dress like a hobo in public. When it comes to sleep time, I dress like $1,000,000.
You better wear a tuxedo to bed, or you're not. Yeah, you're not anything.
Well, I save that for the weekends.
Oh, okay.
As soon as we get done with this, I'm going to bed. I've got it sitting out there waiting on me. I got the 3-piece tuxedo, top hat. Yeah, I'm ready to roll. Because you never know, you might get woken up in the middle of the night and you might have to bust into a Fred Astaire dance routine.
Yeah, and that's how it's going to happen. You're gonna bust into the dance routine, then you're gonna get it caught because you put it out in the universe.
Yeah. Well, I just after I said Fred Astaire, I just realized that like nobody that listens to this show would probably know who Fred Astaire is. So that's probably why no one listens to it. Like I mention shit that you and I listen to or that we know, but like people listen to this like, who the fuck's Fred Astaire?
Danny K dance routine.
Danny fucking K. Yeah. Now see, now they would know. Like, oh yeah, the guy that Clark Griswold mentioned in Christmas Vacation.
And that's all they know him for.
Honestly, when I was a kid, that's how I was introduced to Danny K too. Was he's Danny fucking K, mom. And after she scolded me for saying fucking, and she told me who he was.
My mom made me watch White Christmas, so.
Yeah, I think I got an introduction to that the next Christmas. Do you have any fun facts about the movie?
I do. Before I get into my fun facts, are we doing any new categories this week? Because
No, I couldn't come up with anything. I would have introduced the hot off the skillet takes, which I think that we have to do that now. I think that's going to be a new category
sure.
the next time. I'm going to even write it down as we say it. Hot off the skillet takes,
and then we can add a little skillet sound effect in there, like just like bacon.
Oh, dude, perfect. Maybe we should just start recording that, like not actually do like a podcast episode, just record ourselves like talking about shit that we should do and just don't do it. All right.
The to-do list of the couch potatoes.
Yeah, it's just like we'll just rename the show the to-do list, like shit we got to do for the week. Like, oh yeah, I got to do fucking empty the dishwasher as soon as I'm done here. Like, and just bitch about emptying the dishwasher for 30 minutes.
Perfect.
All right, well, go ahead with your fun facts. Sorry, I didn't mean to segue into something else.
Oh, okay. You're good. So I have a few goofs as part of my fun facts. When Mary and Pat are at the carnival, and she has cotton candy, it actually, when she's eating it, it gets smaller every cut, faster than she's eating it. So you can tell, like, it's been eaten and there's been multiple takes, but they did not care to like look at the cotton candy in between takes. So just a little cutting room faux pas there. And then second goof that they did was when Norm gets out of his car to deliver pizza. He throws the stuff in the car, gets his pizza gear out, and grabs the pizza. Pat is actually behind his house when he was following him in the first place. So when he's behind the house that Pat's delivering to, he should be behind. Pat should be behind Norm, but he's not. How did he get behind the house? And why is he in that position to begin with? And how did Norm not notice him? Especially because, like, I was watching it too. When it pans over that scene, you can clearly see the car and the headlights blaring at him. Like, it's there. He's just waiting to rev up and run him over or whatever. But, like, it's blatantly obvious that he's there, and he's supposed to be like a private detective.
Mm-hmm. Not a very good
one. So one of the inmates in the prison where Ted's being held after that raid at the rest stop. One of the guards kind of like jeers at him. He has like a big beard, and he like shakes the bars as they're closing. Which, by the way, it takes them a really long time to close those bars. Like, there's like 20 inmates there, and like 3 guards. Why aren't they just running out?
Yeah, it could have
It just
easily
doesn't-
turned into the prison riot scene from Natural Born Killers.
And it would have been a fun scene too, because it would have been in a comedy, and they would have had some way to make it funny.
It
Sure.
only would have
But, yeah.
been funny if somehow they spliced Tommy Lee Jones, like just his over the top performance as that prison warden, like into that scene. Like, I would have fucking loved it.
Perfect. But that first inmate, the one with the really big beard at the beginning that shakes the bars as they're closing them, is actually Cameron Diaz's father.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And Keith David, who plays Mary's dad in this movie.
I think it's her stepdad.
Stepdad. Yeah. It's based off of I think it's probably brother stepdad, one of their relations stepdad. It's I forget the actual relation to them, but it was based off of a real person. They decided to do that. Also, just bonus fact, he actually plays the Arbiter in Halo. Keith David, one of my favorite characters in Halo. So has a very distinctive voice. Great voice actor.
He is. He's also in a couple of my favorite Carpenter movies too.
Yeah.
He's in The Thing and They Live.
Oh man, we need to do one of those.
Well, I don't want to. You know what? Fuck it. Spoiler alert. If you don't want to, like, find out what we're going to reveal here, just fast forward like a minute. I think we're going to do The Thing in October.
Excellent, love it.
Yeah, I got.
It's one of my favorites.
I think I'm going to make it like we're going to do a tripod episode. Get like a third person involved, and I know the guy to do it. So yeah, I think The Thing is going to be in October.
Okay.
Because it's a fucking good movie, and we've done one Carpenter movie, and he's one of my favorite directors of all time. I don't know why I haven't done more of them, but
yeah, he has way more hits than misses for sure.
Well, we'll save it for the Carpenter episode.
Yeah, we'll save it. Yeah. So when about an hour or so into the movie, she's sitting on the car with Ted as they're talking. Mary is looking at a watch to see what the time it is, but her watch is facing us. Another goof. I don't know how she's reading that time, but Ted better stay away because there's something not right with her. She's looking at a watch that's not facing the right way.
It's just one of those things where you need the Shia LaBeouf meme, like the magic. It's all it is, just magic. Just like.
And then my last fun fact and goof, when during the Frankenbeans scene when Ted gets it stuck, he loses his jacket in between cuts. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not.
All right, good stuff, man.
Yeah.
The highlight reel. This is the category for the scene in the movie that if you are showing this to somebody for the first time, what scene would you show them? So my contender is the scene when I don't know whether to call him Norm or Tucker. I call him Tucker for the most part because that's who he is for most of the movie.
Yeah.
And I actually find him to be funnier as Tucker than I do Norm. When he becomes Norm, they find him out like, all right, he's kind of a fucking shithead.
Bonus fact before we get into it: he is actually English, and a critic said that he is one of the worst fake British accents he's ever heard. But it's actually a real British accent, just hammed up for this movie.
Yeah, that's British actor Lee Evans, who I remember from the movie, was that Mouse Hunt?
Yes.
With Nathan Lane. I'm going to die on that hill right now. Mouse Hunt is fucking awesome.
It's been a while since I've seen it, but I'm not going to disagree with you.
That's a damn fine motion picture.
Yeah, I remember that. That was in the 90s, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was right after this movie. I think it was like the next year.
Okay, yeah. It was good. It's been a while since I've seen it, though. But I'll agree with you. It's a good movie. It's a good watch.
Maybe Mouse Hunt will be, spoiler alert, maybe we'll do Mouse Hunt down the road.
We're just going to, it's the to-do list.
Yeah,
we're making the to-do
that's
list
all it
now.
is. Like, just skip through and just find the shit that we're going to talk about doing, and we'll probably never do. My favorite scene in this movie is when Norm / Tucker and Pat try to sabotage Mary and Ted's date, and they toss the speed into the apartment, and Puffy the dog gets a hold of it, and then once Ted comes back to her apartment, they find Magda, who's also ingested some of the speed, like lifting up the couch. She's fucking vacuuming the floor. I don't know why, like when you do speed, like that's first thing fucking comes to your mind, but and then
I need to clean.
And then she's asking where Puffy's at, and you hear like what sounds to be like a fucking horse locked in the bathroom, and it turns out it's this little dog. I don't know what kind of dog it is. It's like some kind of terrier of some kind.
Yeah, it looks like a mix, like a terrier Maltese or something like that.
Yeah. But basically this dog is all hopped up on speed and then fucking attacks Ted, and like to the point where it's so hopped up that like he grabs a hold of Ted's leg and drags him across the floor, and Ted scratches the floor and actually puts nail marks through the floor. And then Ted eventually has to throw him over the balcony. And then it cuts right to the next scene where Puffy's in a fucking full body cast. My son, when I was watching this on Wednesday night, he came in probably right before that scene went down. He was asking me what I was watching. I was like, oh, I'm doing, there's something about Married for the Show. And he fucking lost it during the whole scene too. And that's how I know that that scene works.
Yeah. It does. It's universal comedy,
and it
plays to Ben Stiller's strengths too, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, I think the two funniest scenes in the whole movie involve that fucking dog. It's when he also meets Pat for the first time, and
and it's dead.
Yeah, and he has to fucking resuscitate it with the fucking the plug. Like he does that old trick where he rips the lamp cord out. Which there's another goof. He rips the lamp cord out, but the room's still lit up. Like that lamp's still on. And then he ends up wrapping him in that fucking blanket. I was like, that scene cracks me up too.
Both of those scenes are perfect. Those are so good.
Yeah, and see, like that's to the strength of the movie though. The two like biggest sight gags, like I would probably. I think the Frank and Beans one was like super funny when I first seen it, but it kind of loses its strength after a while. That's how you know you got a good comedy written, when like the two big gross out gags don't even fucking register.
Yeah. Because I mean, honestly, those are the ones that like were supposed to be pushing the envelope at the time, I think. Because you don't see it, like I said before, you don't see a lot of stuff like that in movies, comedies or otherwise. And then they kind of did it to be memorable. And now, like you said, when you watch it now, I would agree with you. Those aren't the funniest scenes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What was yours? Like, what's your favorite scene in the movie?
I was going off of what I would show to somebody. And it probably would be one of those gross out scenes, but I'm actually going to defer to you because you make a valid point. They're not as funny. I did laugh more at the dog scenes than I did either of those other two gags.
Yeah, I think my son coming in and like fucking losing it, like he was fucking he was dying like watching this, like just fucking rolling hysterically. And I never hear him like laugh that fucking hard at a movie ever. Like in his 12 years of life, I have never heard him laugh that hard at a movie until a couple nights ago.
Man, and I honestly, I'm gonna reveal my procrastination here, although I've had other things going on. But I just finished the watching the movie again right before we started recording, and I can guarantee you, I laughed so hard at the scene where they're throwing the speed in the window and it gets into her drink, and then like He-Man lifting Scotch up with one arm, and then Mary tries to take it and just like falls over with it.
Yeah, that was a good little bit too that I caught. Like I never really paid attention to that. She could have easily just like sat the couch down, but it really played to like this couch is fucking heavy, and like Magda just lifts it up like it's like she's picking up a fucking like a shirt off the bed, you know.
I also like the exchange between the two guys as they're throwing the speed in there. He's talking to Norm, and he's like, how many did I throw in there? He's like, I don't know, 3, 4. And it's like, I think 4 is going to kill that little dog.
That's an awful lot of speed for that, for a dog.
Yeah.
And he just like, oh, fuck it. He throws another one up there. Yeah, that's good stuff. Man. The Paul Walker, I said, forget about a cuz award for the most awesome line, good or bad, of the movie. I know for me, my two personal favorites, probably not the winner, but I really like the exchange in the car with Ben Stiller and Harlan Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like the 7-minute abs stuff.
Yeah.
That stuff just gets me every time. And to this day, if someone even mentions like 7 minutes in a time frame, I always have to say, you mean 7-minute abs? Not 6, 7.
Yeah, I think that's a good contender for sure.
And then like they give you the money back guarantee, like we'll give you the extra minute for free. Like it's gonna take you more time to fucking switch the DVD or the disc or the tape or whatever for the extra minute. It's like you just killed the fucking workout. And that to me is what makes it funnier more than anything. It's like you're gonna be wasting more time changing it out unless they do something where it's like the full 8 minutes, but whatever. And then I also, it's kind of a throwaway line, but I still fucking crack up every time, is when Ted visits Pat at his office and Pat's leaving for Miami after he's met. He sees like Mary is like this just beacon of like, you know, like, oh, I have to be with this woman. So he moves down to Miami and he says, well, you know, what do you do? He asks him what he's doing. He goes, I took a job in Miami, and he says something about, with the Rice-A-Roni people. And then, and for Rice-A-Roni, it's just a very random fucking thing to say about Miami. Like out of anything, remind me Rice-A-Roni. And he goes, I thought that was a San Francisco treat. He goes, oh, they're trying to go international. I just fucking lose it every time I see that.
Yeah.
But I know for me, it's the whole 7-minute ab exchange with Harlan
Honestly,
Williams.
I'm going to agree with you because that was on my list as well. And I laughed so hard when they started talking about how like, oh yeah, until, you know, you get somebody comes along with 6-minute abs, and then he gets so pissed off. He's like, no, nobody would ever do that. Why would you do 6? And
he almost has a fucking seizure. Like he's like,
He's just trying to think about it, and you can see like the gears are turning, but they're not like quite going all the way, and it just malfunctions. So he just gets pissed off.
Uh,
It's like you're dreaming about Gorgonzola when it's brie time, babe.
and then like he caps it off. He goes, he tells Ben Stiller, "Go step in my office," and Ben will ask him why. He goes, "Because you're fucking fired." I think all of us still use that one.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll give it to the Harlan Williams. Maybe we'll just rename this this award the 7-Minute Abs Award for Best Line of the Movie.
I do want to throw out an honorable mention. I like it when they're walking out of the office and out of Pat's office after he says he's resigning, and they're going towards his car, and he says like, "Oh yeah, well she's going. Why is she going to Japan?" Well, you've heard of mail order brides; they go the other way too. And, wait, why are they that desperate? She's a whale because Pat had told Ted that she's gained weight. And Pat's like, you can't forget, Ted. It's a sumo culture. They pay for the pound of it. It's sort of like a tuna.
Dylan is throwing heaters in this movie. I fucking love it. The McLovin Award for the most impactful supporting performance of the movie. I've got 3 strong contenders here. I have Harlan Williams as the hitchhiker. He's only in the movie for 5 minutes, and like we just said, he's got probably easily the best exchange to the movie. Keith David, he appears early in the movie as Mary's stepdad. But my pick is, and I didn't find this out till doing the research. Richard Jenkins is Ted's therapist in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he goes uncredited. He's not even credited for this movie.
Oh.
Yeah, he's in there for like maybe 2 minutes. And he just does the most dickhead thing that a shrink could do to one of his patients. He's not even in the fucking room when Ted's pouring his heart out. He comes back right before the end, eating lunch. And then he drops that fucking line about rest stops, which it's not, it hasn't aged well, but it's not so much the line, it's the delivery. He says it with such conviction. That, which is proven
later on in the movie.
Yeah. But he's my winner. That I always look forward to this scene every time I watch this movie. It's just him like fucking dipping into that session right before it ends, so he's not even in there for the entire time. I still fucking love it. We've already given Harlan Williams an award, so I want to give this one to Richard Jenkins.
Okay. But yeah, I'll agree with you. I wanted to give it to the hitchhiker, but
Harlan's great. He is, but we already spoke about him with the best line. Keith David is fucking like just bringing it too, though. I fucking love his stepdad.
Yeah, and how he kind of was pulling Ben Stiller's leg at the beginning. Like, I guess that was a thing. Like, it was somebody had inspired that as well. It was a real life inspiration, and I really like the fact that there was a bunch of lines in Keith David's role that he just ad-libbed to.
Well, the fact that he messes with Ted so much during the when he goes to pick her up, Mary does that to Ted later on in the movie too.
Yeah, I like that. That's really cool, and that's kind of storytelling and like some connections that you don't really get in comedies either.
Yeah. Plus, Keith David was married to Marky Post in this movie, and I had a crush on Marky Post back when I was a kid on Night Court.
Plus, he's the Arbiter from Halo, so
yeah, we already mentioned him too. So, give a little love to Richard Jenkins. So, we cool giving Richard Jenkins this?
I am cool with it.
All right. the Welcome to Dumpsville Population U Award for the performer that we would recast. I really didn't have anybody. It seemed like they did a pretty good job, and it really just focuses on essentially Stiller, Diaz, and Dylan.
Yeah.
And I think they peppered it in with some really good supporting performers, like Farrelly Brothers' favorite Lynn Shay. Like, she's fucking fantastic in this as well.
Yeah.
Which she also gets a special shout out too. Lynn Shay is Magda. Is she Mary's landlord or her roommate, or I don't know what that dynamic is.
I think it's the landlord, and he was only around with her because he wanted to be with Mary.
Oh no, I was talking about like Lynn Shay. Like,
Lynn Shay. Oh,
is Magda Mary's roommate, her landlord? I don't know what that dynamic is. Neighbor.
I think neighbor is all.
Oh, okay. Pretty fucking friendly. Like, that's Kramer level friendship right there, where she just fucking hangs out in her house.
Yeah, listening to radios and whatnot.
Yeah. But there's nobody I would recast in this. I mean, I think the Farrelly brothers knocked it out of the park with this one.
Yeah, for sure. There's a couple of different, actors that could have done it, like we were mentioning in the trivia, but I think they did a pretty good job.
Yeah, not like anybody that I would blatantly say, like, okay, like, all right, pack it up.
Yeah, get out of here. You're not worthy of this movie.
Get the fuck out of here.
Speaking of people that were in this movie, I totally forgot Sarah Silverman was in this movie.
Yeah.
Cool, I just watched it. Yeah.
Says one of the grossest lines I've ever heard dropped in a movie. Something about a 3-pound cock. I'm like, that is fucking vile.
That is. Like, you got to go see a doctor if that's the case.
Yeah, and like, how does one measure that?
How do you walk around with that? Like, that has to cause some back problems, right?
Oh, hips are getting popped out, and I'm not talking about for the sex partners. Yeah. I'm talking like, your hips are falling.
Yeah, you roll one way in the bed, you're falling out of bed every time.
Yeah, it's like having a fucking anchor tied to your waist. It's like, why do you keep falling out of bed? Like, you just have to sleep on the floor. Like, I give up. I'm selling the bed. I'm sleeping on the floor.
How did he die? Oh, he went for swimming lessons straight to the bottom.
Yeah, dude can't go swimming. He cannot be in any kind of body of water at all. He can't go fucking canoeing. He can't go rafting. Man,
it's my weakness. It's my kryptonite is water.
Yeah. That's a literal can. Like, if he dives off of a diving board, that's a literal cannonball.
If it doesn't hit him in the head and knock him out first, yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, forgot about that too.
Swings up. Oh well, he's dead.
I think that at this point of the show, we could tell that you and I had to work this morning, and it's 11:03 because we're just having a fucking giddy old conversation about some dude's 3-pound cock.
There's content that's worth it right now. You're getting.
This is the kind of talk that you don't get on other shows.
That's right. This is premium.
Yeah,
you're getting premium for free.
Yeah, for free. No cost to you whatsoever. Just a 5-star review on Apple Podcast. The unsolved mysteries of the movie, the only one that I really had was we're led to believe before we find out that Norm is an imposter. He's just a fucking lowly pizza delivery driver. Mm-hmm. We are led to believe that Tucker is one of Mary's best friends. Mm-hmm. And it fooled me. I thought for sure, like, this was a legit dude that just wanted to, be with her, and like he was trying to sabotage these other guys. Why, like, nobody, like, he visits her all the time, I'm guessing. He's visited her at work. Mm-hmm. He's visited her at her apartment. Nobody has ever seen him get into that shitbox car of his. And at least raise some red flags like, okay, this guy's supposed to be an architect, right?
Yeah.
and no one sees him get into that fucking rusted up site. Like, was that a Buick Citation or something? I'm not a car guy, so I could be off base, but nobody has seen this. It's a heap. No one has seen him get into that.
He is the best at faking who he is, I think. Like, even better than the private investigator. He puts up the best facade. Like, where did he get the money for the suit? Like, he's a pizza delivery guy that looks like a really nice suit. You know, he puts on the fake but also real British accent. And then he gets all this dirt on all of the other guys. Some of it's made up, but he's a mastermind. And then he drives around that car. He drives it better than the private investigator that is blatantly in the bushes with his headlights blaring.
Right. But I don't know. That's always bothered me. Like, nobody knew. Like, this didn't even come up. Like, why is Tucker driving that? Like, that car looks like it shouldn't even be on the road.
Like, maybe it's because he's supposed to have a physical handicap, so he can't drive around on like a Vespa or something.
Well, at first I thought like, well, maybe like he just parks it down the road, but like there hasn't been at least one time where somebody has offered like, let me take you to your car. You know, like, why, Tucker, you don't need to drive or don't need to walk. I'll take you home, or, let me drive you to your car. And then like, I don't know.
That's strange to me.
It's probably like nothing, but like that's one thing that always kind of like, I always wondered.
Yeah. And other than that, like the only other mystery that I thought about was Dom. How did he present his story to his wife? Apparently, he was in like psychiatric care for like 9 years, he said, or something like that. Mm. And then he decides, oh well, I'm going to go down to Florida with Ted, and like, is that all he did to explain his disappearance to his wife? And what about the hives? Like, if I got hives that badly before I left to go be with my friend, somebody in my life, anybody in my family is going to be like, dude, you need to go see a doctor. Don't go with Ted.
Well, they weren't that bad at first. He only had like a little bump on his head, and
he
went down to meet with Ted because they had seen him on that episode of Cops.
Right.
After he got busted. Yeah. So it's like, he's like, okay, I'm going to go down there and bail him out.
He knew Mary was down there beforehand, though, because Ted was talking about Mary.
Yeah.
So he probably planned on it.
Yeah. I was like, oh, well, this is a perfect opportunity for me to go down here. And
yeah, you're right. It's probably, but still, I think, anybody in his situation would have a hard time hiding what he's doing, too.
A lot of stalkers in this movie.
Yeah, the pizza delivery guy does the best job out of all of them, too.
He does. Like, that is fucking Edward Norton in Primal Fear, Kaiser Soze from The Usual Suspects level of, like, fucking just playing in, like, hiding in the shadows, like who you really are. It's fucking brilliant.
He's a stalker, and he's he's creepy, but way less creepy than Kevin Spacey, even though he's a stalker.
Plus, he's like really smart as Tucker, and he's really stupid as Norm. I don't understand why. I don't understand why he just doesn't like be Tucker all the time. Like Tucker could probably get him a fucking decent job.
Yeah, even if he's making it up, he's you fake it until you make it, right? So like. He's good at that.
He can't be the only person that has lied on a resume. They fucking make memes about this now, where somebody looks completely lost and it says, when you lied on your resume.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
But I don't know. Yeah.
The last category I have is the Hall of Fame. I will ask you a series of questions to see if this movie, the category this movie falls under, whether it fits into a Hall of Fame. Would this movie go into a 90s comedy Hall of Fame?
Yes, I think it is in a couple of Hall of Fames already.
Yeah, for sure. Like we spoke earlier, like we both feel like this is kind of like one of the quintessential comedies of the 90s. Kind of as the bridge between the R-rated comedies of the 80s and what we got in the 2000s, spanning the arguably the two greatest eras of comedy. So yeah, definitely Cameron Diaz. I'd say yeah. I mean, this is the movie she's most known for.
Sure.
Ben Stiller.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd say so too.
Yeah, I think so. Ben Stiller regards it as one of his favorite movies too. So that he's done.
These next two, I kind of threw a couple curveballs to see what you would say. Would this movie make the Hall of Fame of dog attacks in movies?
Oh yeah, and just thinking off the top of my head of dog attacks in movies, I can think of like 2 or 3. This is easily one of the funniest.
Yeah, I think we don't see it. I don't think we see it too much, but Ice Cube's dad in Friday, he gets attacked by a dog. I don't remember whether they showed. It's been a while since I've seen Friday. We need to revisit that movie.
Yeah.
Friday's fucking amazing.
Are we counting? I mean, I think we can count the cougar in the car in Talladega Nights, right? It's not a dog per se.
Well, an animal attack. Well, of course we have to do like there's Cujo, there's Man's Best Friend.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that.
There's a pretty funny one in the Super Mario Brothers movie too.
Yeah, I would say that one for sure. I don't know if that would make the Hall of Fame though, but
no, it wouldn't make the Hall of Fame, I don't think, but it's pretty funny.
Yeah, I'd say we put it in the Hall of Fame. I mean, that's a pretty. We both said that's the best scene in the movie. So, last definitely. One I got here is bodily fluids as hair gel in movies.
This is the only one, right? Are there others?
That is shown in like a reputable movie theater. Yes. Now there could be other movies that have, but those are the movies that you have to be a certain age to go watch, or you can find them on the internet. Which I'm sure there's probably a whole fucking subgenre of that, or an OnlyFans page, or something.
Right alongside the guy, the 3-pound kid.
Yeah. If we have not already sparked it, we may have just started like 2 fucking Pornhub subgenres that you can search: 3-pound cocks and like old fucking jizz hair gel.
You know what? At this point, Pornhub, feel free to sponsor us. It's fine.
You know what? I would not have any shame at all in saying at the opening of each and every show, Pornhub presents the Couch Potato Podcast. I would not have any fucking shame in it at all.
Nope. No.
So, well, hey, we got to wrap this up. You got any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. I was reading about it being a classic movie from the 90s, how it's quickly becoming classic comedy. And I am, after watching it again and researching the movie, I am confident in saying that is accurate. Probably a classic in definitely in 90s comedies overall. It was very influential, especially in kind of spurring that R-rated comedy movie forward in the era that it was released. So after watching again, which everybody should watch it again, it's a fun time. It's not a waste of time. And even if it's a little offensive, it's still funny in many, many spots. Like you said, if a kid can come in and watch a dog attack a guy and just start rolling laughing on the floor, it's a good time. So,
yeah, I don't know how that. I don't know how that speaks to me as a parent, but yeah. I mean,
it's fine. It's fine.
Well, he only caught like the tail end of it. Like the whole dog attack scene is like seriously like the last 20 minutes of the movie.
Right. Yeah, he completely skips the part where what is he? There's so many euphemisms that he uses, like spank the monkey, clear the pipes. What is it? Smack the dolphin or something?
Flog the dolphin, I think, is what he says. Which
yeah,
I don't even. When I heard that, I thought of that fucking kid that got in trouble in Singapore, and they flogged him with that cane. And I thought flogging a dolphin is like taking a kendo stick to a fucking dolphin's back. All right, I think we need to wrap this up, man. I think I'm at the point now where I'm kind of punch drunk. I think it could be for a fun episode. So, that's it for this week. Adam, goddamn pleasure as always. Love having you on the show. For those of you listening, we appreciate it. Be sure to follow us on social media. We are on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and the new Instagram Threads. You can find our links at the show description page at the bottom of the show. If you like what we're doing here, please give us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. It does help us out in those search results. So if somebody is in the market to look up podcasts about 3-pound cocks, this will be the first one that pops up.
Boom.
So until next week, be kind to one another, be kind to yourself, and good fucking night until next week.